Hi everyone, and welcome to another sales e-learning video class. This is Tony Brancatella, and today we're going to have a few videos we're going to do up, and one of them is going to be just a sales overview here in Canada, the businesses, the type of businesses, and also a quick look at technology and the future of technology, or the opposite. Is technology really necessary? And if it is, certainly it is in certain cases, but is it enough to, necessary enough, I should say, to replace sales associates? Let's take a look at this. So when I look at sales, just a little bit of what we learned. We look at sales, and we define sales as the process of manipulating people into buying things they neither want nor need. Now, good question. Is this the past? Is this certainly, in my point of view, not today? But is this the future? With AI and with technology, where customers will go on these websites and not have to be qualified or find out what their needs are, where customers, and also the big factor also is that you can buy something in a lot of these stores, take a look at it, use it in many cases. And I always give the story about Home Depot where you can buy paint and paint your wall and take a look at it, not like it, and bring it back, and they will give you a credit to buy more paint. So again, is this necessary? In my point of view, it still is. It's really will differentiate in the future when it comes to companies having sales associates that are able to qualify or well trained, and the ones that are not, or in many cases the ones that don't have any. They will use just artificial intelligence. Again, sales is really just an exchange of a commodity or money as a price of a good or a service. This is down basic of what it is. Certainly, we look at that, and a lot of companies really profit from the fact that this is just an exchange and and a service. In many cases, the sales associate plays its part, but has taken a different side to it and has looked upon more of a helper than really just a person that will manipulate and try to sell. I would say a seller. So I know in my career in sales, I've always looked upon as being more of a helper, help to buy, instead of actually just trying to sell someone something. In any case, in most cases, a product that you don't even need. So retail sales has its place. Walmart continues to look for people for their stores. If you've ever been to Walmart, you'll see that it's a huge place and there's not that many people working there. I have a feeling this is going to change more and more. A lot of these stores like Walmart and Amazon's will probably stick to brick and mortar, but you might not have monster stores like you see there in front of you. You might have smaller stores where the sales experience is going to be valued a little higher than it is today. So here in Quebec, all kinds of different job descriptions when it comes to sales associates. French remains an issue, or a value added, I would rather say, than an issue when it comes to working here in Quebec. Again, though, how much French do you have to speak to work in Quebec is another question which I take to heart, and also make people understand, or make sales associates understand, that you really need to speak the lingo more than actually speak French. So you need to speak more the French lingo, French sales associate lingo, than actual French itself. Big difference. So what kind of retail businesses are there that you could work as a sales associate? Specialty stores, smaller stores, bookstores. These kind of stores really have one product, more and more, just they stick to that product. They might have different streams of products that you could actually buy that are alternative products or complementary products, but more and more they just stick to what their products are. And you have all kinds of stores that are specialty, clothes, alcohol, sports equipment, shoes. All these kind of stores really specialize in that only. Again, they do have alternative products or complementary products, but they don't really try to sell more than what they are actual specialize in. Big box stores, enough said. I would say big box stores or Walmarts, big stores like that, are looking at even, I would say, changing their terminologies. These big words, like this one's here in the United States, super centers, super stores, hyper stores, mega stores. Oh my gosh, all these portmanteaus, two words, put together to make one. Really has had its place. I would say it as a trend, but I would think sales associates have its place, are still important, and I would think the Walmarts realize this, and all of these big box stores, and they're looking to downsize and give more quality service than just have some customers walk in and get lost in their stores, which I know every time I walk into a Walmart, I certainly have to have a map to get around where's what and how to get out. So it's not a fantastic experience as it used to be. It used to be very trendy. Now I would think as still as popular as in many areas, I would think there is a degree of deviation when it comes to that, and have smaller stores. So all kinds of stores: Canadian Tire, Walmart, IKEA, Home Depot. Let's take a minute just to look at Canadian Tire here in Canada. Canadian Tire is one of the biggest retailers here in Canada, and they opened up in 1934. And guess what? They sold tires. Those were the main things they were selling. Was their brands. They were Canadian Tire. We're selling brands and tires, and they're also selling sports equipment, bikes. There was one big line they used to have, or they still do. They used to have the most terrible bikes that you could buy, but I would think today their bikes have slightly improved. A lot of Canadians shop there, live close to Canadian Tires. I would think the marketing at Canadian Tire has done their job really well. And 90% of all Canadians live within a 15-minute drive of a Canadian Tire. And the way we're dispersed here as Canadians all over Canada, and how big Canada is, this tells you a lot about how Canadian Tire has looked into this and really marketed their stores and really looked at location as being a real important factor. 9 out of 10 adult Canadians shop at one or at least twice a year at Canadian Tires. Canadian Tire, I should say, or Canadian Tire stores. 40% of Canadians shop at Canadian Tire almost every week. There is over 500 stores across Canada. That is a lot of retail sales associates. Now, Canadian Tire has always had the reputation of not having the greatest service when it comes to retail, when it comes to sales associates. And certainly I think they need to look at this a little bit closer to remain or to grow here in Canada, because I think in my perception, in my opinion, sales associates, the service that they're allowed and the training that they need to give the best service is really important. And salary-wise, as much as sales associates have been looked upon as minimum wage, a minimum wage job, I should say, this has to change, and this has to be looked a little bit differently to give better service, and will increase sales for Canadian stores like Canadian Tire. One of the biggest things about Canadian Tire is Canadian Tire Money, and just a little bit of tidbit information about them. When it comes to Canadian Tire Money, they've been around for a very long time. People collect this money. If you have the original Canadian Tire Money, I'm quite sure it's worth more than $1, let's say, or face-to-face value of the Canadian Tire Money. Canadian Tire Money also, what a lot of Canadians don't know is that a lot of retail stores, especially convenience stores across Canada or here in Quebec, dependers, will accept Canadian Tire Money at par. So that just tells you the value or the amount of people that shop at Canadian Tire where they will accept their money at par. Okay, so another retail sales businesses. You looked at liquidation stores, closeout stores, if you want to call them that, salvage item stores. There's all kinds that we'd look at. They're very popular, and a lot of stores like Target that just made its headway here in Quebec, and certainly did not stay very long. So they became almost a liquidation store almost immediately. And then there's the what we call the factory store, the wholesale stores. Stores, you can name them all: a warehouse, factory, wholesale, you name it. In Quebec, we use the word entrepot a lot, and so yeah, these type of stores, really, when you look at them, basically what they are is retail. You look at the wholesale, and that word has really changed its definition, and so has retail. You know, you walk into a Costco, and if you have a membership, by the way, memberships at Costco in itself is a huge business. So for Costco, it's not just the idea that you know they will sell wholesale or retail. It's also the factor that you are a member, and that for them is just a huge business. So yes, there is value added to a Costco when you pay your membership and you get certain products at depending on the quantity that you buy. But there again, depending on how you shop, kind of home you have, how many people your salary, and all of this that comes into play. A lot of people stay away from Costco, but Costco, as what just took place now in China, it's just erupted as a business now, the business model in China. So they're not going away. They're not going away anytime soon. They're just expanding and really competing more and more with the bigger two, Walmart and Amazon. And there's supermarkets, a larger form of traditional grocery store. It could be also a self-service shop. Sales associates here in this store usually are behind counters, or they're slicing meat or cheese or stuff like that. So you don't really get to see them, or actually placing products in this case, but or at the cash. But supermarkets still do have sales associate jobs, different than most stores. And a lot of supermarkets are owned and operated by independents. So in many cases, the owner will be behind the counter, and so there is a market like that for sure in Quebec. But there is also the big supermarkets, the Provigos, the Maxis, and so on and so forth. And the metros here are still pretty big and have expanded and swallowed up a lot of the smaller supermarkets. And in cases of like Metro, they even go out and purchase other Quebec companies like Premier Moisson. And then there's pharmacies. And talking about stores that really have expanded and have gone away from their traditional business model, pharmacies are it. I was sent out to buy eggs at a pharmacy, and I said, eggs at a pharmacy? Yes, you could buy eggs at a pharmacy. And be as surprised as it is, you can buy so many things at a pharmacy today versus when I remember growing up, what a pharmacy was certainly just to get some cough medicine, or in those cases was cough medicine and candies you chose. But today, eggs seems to be what you could buy there. So in Quebec, we have a lot of pharmacies, and you have the Pharma Prix, you have the Jean Couture's, the Family Prix, and you have the Uniprix. So Prix stands for price, and it's a big word that they use when it comes to pharmacies. And you can see the only pharmacy that really uses the word pharma here is pharma. You don't see it there, you don't see it there, and you don't see it there. So pharma or pharmacy, the actual terminology has gone by the wayside and replaced it by brands. So these brands have certainly replaced. So when we call pharmacies, we don't even say I'm going to the pharmacy. We say, well, we're going to Jean Couture. And certainly a lot of these sales associate jobs remain in these stores, and a lot of them push to have sales associate on the floor. Not many, but there is. So the jobs remain and are well trained in many cases in these pharmacies. And in Quebec and across Canada, you have convenience stores. In Quebec, we have ODEP, or dépanneurs, which really means just to help out in a time of need, difficulty. If you're out of milk, you run to the dépanneur. If you're out of beer, you run to the dépanneur. And so that's how it became the dépanneur. The verb dépanne here in Quebec expanded to become dépanneur. So dépanneur used to be the only store in Quebec that would sell beer. So that has changed enormously. So the competition that dépanneurs have today to stay in business with not just amongst themselves as independent owners of dépanneurs, but you've got chains. And like you just saw before, pharmacies have taken over dépanneurs too. They're opening up later. So dépanneurs really has changed when it comes to their business model. They need to change their business model as much as possible. Yes, they do remain, but you certainly have chains of stores like the Couche-Tards, the Bonnisoirs that really have taken over. So the actual mom and pop corner store, dépanneur, finds itself in a very tight bind, and it really needs to be local, hard to get to, especially in the middle of the winter. But it remains that parking is an issue when it comes to these stores, and price also. So, and variety plays a bigger part. So Couche-Tards will have much more variety than your mom and pop store. So it's difficult to have your own business. And one of the biggest competitors to dépanneurs is certainly service stations, or gas stations as we call them. They certainly are gas stations, but not just gas, engine lubricants as in the past. They sell just about anything. Even today, gas stations will also have electric energy for cars, and so this really has expanded to that. And like I mentioned before, gas stations sell a lot of products. They have become the dépanneur of today, and a lot of people don't even go to dépanneurs. They really the actual dépanneur is inside the service station, so it's one-stop shop more and more. So you can actually buy wine and beer at these places, at these service stations. And do you really need to go to a pharmacy? In many cases, you need to go to a pharmacy maybe just to get the actual medication more and more. But depending on how you shop, service stations certainly have taken over. And there are all kinds of service stations here in Quebec, in Canada. And you could, like I mentioned before, have the dépanneur right in there in the actual service station. It'll save you a trip. Okay, cool. So let's move on and just to talk a little bit about technology. I don't want to go too long with this. I have other videos that I want to show you and expand on. If you look at technology and how retail sales, emerging technologies are changing retail sales in many ways. E-commerce has developed all kinds of different conveniences for when it comes to retail sales. They look at 5 C's. They look at the cost, convenience, choice, control, and they also look at customer relationships. So e-commerce needs to change a little bit more and add to it, because the human factor still plays a big part in retail sales, and that's what's really lacking in e-commerce. Or is it in the future? What direction is it taking? And also artificial intelligence. When you look at online shop bots, right? They're replicating a lot of what's going on with sales associates. What's going to happen in 5 to 10 years? Or will the trend go backwards and become more personal? AI plays a big part. Amazon plays a big part when it comes to artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, how you can have a little device like Alexa in your house, and will actually do the shopping for you, and will help you, accommodate you, or remind you to buy products. So this eliminates a lot of the sales associates' job itself, and replaced by a device that could do this, right? So in many cases, they're pushing very hard to be associated to one product like Alexa, so you always buy from Amazon. You buy everything from Amazon. Again, applications, phones. We all have our phones, and we all cherish our phones, and we all use our phones to do just about everything. And really, our phone has become a sales associate for us. Really helps us to do things on there with all the applications that we have. And in Apple's case, 99% of shoppers' time is spent on mobile browsing. So just tells you what's going on with phones. We look at reviews, we look at store openings, if there are hours, directions to get there, what products they have, what sales they have. We have reminders sent to us that, oh, there's a sale at Best Buy. I need to go get my computer today. I will save 20%. So it's sales associates have their work cut out for them, and this is why training is becoming a very big important part. And you can't just put anybody in a sales associate that has no training today. They need to know their products very well, almost as much as their artificial intelligence chatbots or shop bots do. Yes, there is a directional when it comes to certain shopping habits and trends, but as trends go up and trends go down. So right now, certainly buying online is a big business. E-commerce, e-business today is huge. Is going to get bigger. Sales associates need to know what's going on with e-commerce and need to know all about e-business, or they'll be left behind. So the training today involves training in e-commerce platforms and also understanding what e-business is. And there's also security issues that keep propping up today that really come and play a big part. So security, online security plays a big part. A lot of companies try to stay away or try to make sure that their information that they gather from customers are secure. But unfortunately, as we've seen in the past, this is not the case. Again, online you can do just about anything. You can buy a jacket, you can try it on, see if it fits, and the color on you and all these things that you could do. So here again, they're trying to bridge the gap between a sales associate or the actual tangible touching the product itself and how you see yourself in it and all that, versus also actually physically putting it on. So there's all kinds of stuff happening and all kinds of innovations online, such as this and North Face. And there's also other competition when it comes to giving the best service. Delivery is one thing. Amazon had mentioned a few years ago that they were looking at drones to deliver their products. A few years have gone by. This has not happened yet. Probably won't happen for a few years yet. But we hear about it and we see a drone come here and there. But hard to imagine Amazon having all their products up in the air. It would really pollute the actual skies, I would think. So I would think that this is an issue and hard to foresee in reasonably future. So I think it's still far away, right? In actual fact, Amazon is reversing and opening up brick and mortar stores and incorporating the highest technology there is. But there are sales associates that still work in these Amazon Go stores, and if they do expand this, for Amazon with the actual buying power they have, they can certainly expand to right across Canada, right across the United States, to have these Amazon Go smaller stores, more when it comes to service, personal service, than in the past. So yes, there will still be checkout free technology where you could just walk in, and as your application is on, you could just automatically pick up your products, put them in your purse or bag, and you walk out and you're being automatically charged. So this is kind of weird to say, but that you can just pick up products and leave. But this is what Amazon gives you a lot of convenience to do that. So they're looking at all kinds of things. So sales associates here also are being pressured, replaced by applications, or replaced certainly by just technology, in this case really high technology, and when it comes to products being automatically charged and to exit the store. Again, artificial intelligence, right, means that online shop bots are likely to be able to replicate 90% of normal human being retail interactions within the next 5 to 10 years. Again, 5 to 10 years is really quick. Is this true? Is this going to happen, or will it take a little bit longer? It's to be seen. But in my opinion, stores and the personal touch when it comes to service and sales associates qualifying customers, finding out their needs, will not go away. In many cases, I would think it would reverse, and a lot of stores will define quality by their sales associates, trained sales associate, well-paid sales associate compared to today's world. And in artificial intelligence in retail, it's almost unlikely to happen really soon. 5, 7 years, 10 years away, probably a lot more than that before it really becomes part of the landscape when it comes to retail. To improve customer engagement, artificial intelligence, in my opinion, will not be replacing sales associates, even if Amazon is pushing very hard to do so. I would think there's always going to be room for trained sales associates. Yes, in the future, or even today, you could have chatbots taking over and really answering all your questions, and they really replicate what really is sales associates' job: to answer questions, to define products, to know products, to find out what you need exactly by asking you all kinds of qualifying questions. But in my opinion, it's still far away to replace a well-trained sales associate. Great, so we'll stop there with the chatbots. I'm not a chatbot, but I will stop chatting right now and we'll go to another video soon. So hold on tight and see you soon.